Well, 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 what do we have here? It appears to be a young pioneer. No, it's not. It's a Vtech V.Smile. The Vtech V.Smile is another educational console in the vein of the Vtech V.Flash. It's been around for a number of years. It's gone through a number of different hardware incarnations. This is a consoleized version of it. You can also get it in various forms of handhelds that have built-in touchscreens, that kind of thing. But pretty much if it says V.Smile on it, then whatever the actual form factor of the device is, it'll play all V.Smile games. And I do mean all. Even though, like I said, there's been several different hardware incarnations of this, it's gone through a few different generations, and it's added increasing capabilities with each generation, the games are all backwards compatible. So what that means is, literally right now you could go into Walmart and buy a brand new V.Smile game, and you can put it into the oldest V.Smile system that you can find, and it'll play. Yeah, crazy, huh? That does mean that some of the newer V.Smile games may have been programmed to take advantage of the additional capabilities of the newer hardware, and those capabilities, of course, won't be present on the older hardware, but the games are still backwards compatible. They will simply scale themselves back to work. So that's pretty impressive, I think. As far as what's in this, as far as hardware goes, I don't actually know, because I haven't looked it up. But we can still take a close look at the unit here and see what's on the outside. Look, you can see easily front and center we have a cartridge slot. See if I can give you a look at the inside there. It's sort of a card edge connector, which is very typical for cartridge-based systems. Notice that it's mounted vertically, as is also very typical, but instead of being like in the middle of the unit, it's right at the front. It's front and center. And so you take a cartridge, which looks like this. In fact, it doesn't look like this. It's exactly like this, because this is a real cartridge. These cartridges say on the back the different kinds of learning that you can gain from this experience. And so, yeah, various bits. But you take this, and the cartridges themselves, that bottom end right there goes into the system like that. You just push the whole damn thing down in there till it clicks, and you're done. These cartridges themselves, I don't know what the storage capacity of them actually is, but it must be something substantial, because many of these games, believe it or not, have a lot of spoken dialogue in them, and that's to be expected considering that these are supposed to be educational consoles, and they're geared towards a very young demographic, most of which don't know how to read yet. So, you'd think that all that spoken dialogue would take up a lot of space, and coming out of the system it actually sounds pretty good. It's not perfect as, you know, something that you see in HD, of course. It's been compressed, but it's not over-compressed. It's still very legible. Peeling back this protective little thingo here, you can indeed see that it is what you typically look like a card edge connector to look like. So inside there is just an ordinary PCB, just like you'd expect. Going back to the system, looking on the left-hand side here, we can see the controller ports, and you can see in there, maybe, that those look very much like PS2 mini DIN ports. So I'm not exactly sure what would happen if you tried to plug in, say, a PS2 mouse or a keyboard into that. The whole thing would probably explode in a massive fireball, and that by itself might be entertaining. I haven't tried, and I'd rather not find out, because I don't want to blow this thing up. Slots for 2 players. All the games that I've played have the same basic menu structure, the same basic capabilities, and they're all 2-player from the ones that I've seen. I haven't been able to play 2-player because I'm all by myself. I only have one controller anyway, so anyway, going across the front here, it's got separate on and off buttons, which is very interesting, I think. And also interesting about these buttons is the off button is actually detectable by software. All of these games, once they're booted up, you push the off button to turn it off, and it'll give you some kind of goodbye message, like it'll play some audio saying goodbye or see ya, and then the system actually powers off. And I've not seen another system that's like that. That's interesting to me. Let's see. Looking in the top here, this top thing here actually flips open. And and inside there's room for storage of plenty of games. Now the tricky thing is, I'm going to put all the games I have here into this thing. Yeah, I'll get in there. As you can see, probably what I'm about to comment on next is the fact that it's kind of a tight fit. Come on, get your ass down in there. What's your problem? I don't have time for this. I want my gratification right now. I'm an American, I want it now. Anyway, so that's all the games in there. Looks like it's actually got room for 2 more on the left and the right in the top. And I have 6 games, so you can fit 8 games just into the storage of this, which is pretty cool. Problem is getting them back out again. The ones on top are sort of okay. You can like wedge your finger in there and get them out of there. But it gets progressively more difficult the deeper you get into there. And I don't know if that was like some kind of bizarre design flaw or something. But yeah, I don't know. Also, you can see that previous owner here, apparently some of these were named by somebody named Brown. That's not my last name. But they're mine now, so fuck you. So, also, looking around in here, there's, for some weird reason, a microphone. I haven't seen this used in any actual games. So this button on it here, which is labeled mic on. Ooh, so you can even turn it on and off. And it's not like a push-in click switch either. It's the same no matter how you push it. I haven't seen any games that use this. I'm not sure how it would be used. This may have been one of those things where they included this as a just-in-case kind of feature. So just in case they came up with an idea that it would actually use this, then it would be available on all of the units. It could also be that this is a backwards compatibility thing, or I guess you could say a side compatibility thing, in that maybe the handheld versions of the Vtech V.Smile have a built-in microphone, and so they had to include a microphone into this to maintain compatibility with all existing software. Anyway, it comes on this god-awful long cable, which I'm not even going to pull out of there because I'm not sure I can get it back in there again. And it ends up being hardwired into the inside of this wall right there. Which you can't see because the microphone's in the way. But yeah, that pisses me off because you know how much I love things that are hardwired into the system. Anyway, we'll jam that back down in there. There we go. Okay, so moving around to the rest of the system. Nothing on the left. And there's something on the right here. I'm not actually sure what this thing is. See if the camera can focus on that. But it looks to me like maybe that is a connector for, because right there on the edge there, it looks sort of like a microphone on the right hand side. But what the thing on the left hand side is, I don't know, like a toilet lid? I don't know what that's supposed to be. I tried to get a look in there to see what was actually inside there. My finger always gets in the way, so I can't see what's actually inside there. But it's some kind of connection for something. Maybe a secondary microphone, maybe for connecting to another V.Smile. I don't actually know. Anyway, let's flip out on the bottom, see what it's got down here. Interestingly, this unit can indeed be powered by batteries. Now, as is typical for things that I find in thrift stores like this, when I opened it up, it still had batteries in it, and one of the batteries had gotten all nasty and crusty. I don't know if you can see that, but on that particular thing right there, the spring, it's gotten kind of nasty. But this could be powered by 4 AA batteries. I don't know how long they would last. Probably actually compared to a physical V.Smile better, because those batteries are not powering a screen, and the screen, of course, is the biggest draw for power in any handheld device. So, and it's got its little footsies around the corners. Spin it around here so we can have a look at this here label. And it says the power requirements in a few different languages. It says it is NTSC. And yeah, you do not have to run this off of batteries, in fact, and in fact I'll get to that here in a second. And there's other things printed into the plastic, which you probably can't see because the camera won't focus on them. But basically it says the same thing about the FCC rules. It's on every piece of electronic equipment in this country. So many things that I've got it memorized because I spent a lot of my youth looking at the backs of TVs and stuff because, I don't know, those things interested me. but it goes something pretty much like this. This device complies with Part 15 of the SEC rules. Part 1, this device may not cause harmful interference. Part number 2, this device must accept any interference received, including interference that may cause undesired operation. Ooh, clap, 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 clap. See, I'd clap with 2 hands, but I've got one holding the camera. So, anyway, let's look at the back of this thing. And it has a DC power input right there. So even though this didn't come with an AC adapter, I have lots of them laying around, so I was able to wire one up to it, and it works just fine. Thing I don't like, another hardwired cable coming out of this fucking thing. And that cable goes all the way over here to standard, wonderful, works on almost anything RCA plugs. Got the yellow for the composite and the audio left and right there. So, that's the system. Let's push that back a little bit. I already showed you the games. Let's show you the controller. And boy, is this a weird fucking thing. Look at that. This is the controller for this thing. Look at this beast. It's got this giant joystick on the side, which in my experience is basically just a stick on top of a D-pad. It's got an analog feel to it. It's kind of springy, but it doesn't actually work in analog like... I'll get a better angle at the bottom of the stick right here. See, you can push it just a little bit, and you can push it more to get it to the edge. It doesn't actually do anything until you get to the edge, I don't think. And even though you can swing it through this entire range of motion, it still only basically goes down and left and up and right. So yeah, it's got the plug on it, as you'd expect would fit into the system. If it didn't actually fit into the system, that would be pretty damn shitty. And it has on it, on the right hand side here, all of the action buttons that would be on a physical Vtech V.Smile handheld. It's got these 4 big colored ones, which are reprogrammable depending on the game. And it's got the question mark to bring up help menu. And it's got that ABC, which typically brings up a menu that allows you to quit the game in case you're tired of the bullshit. And it's got this thing, which looks like a little open door, which I guess gets you to exit quickly. I've never actually pushed it. This thing here in the middle is a kind of a drawing pad, because, believe it or not, this thing has on the back a stylus. And again, this is compatibility with the physical V.Smile units that have the touchscreen and the stylus. So here's the touchscreen, since there is the touchpad, I should say, since there is no screen on this unit. The stylus pushes in a little bit. I'm not sure if that's a button or not. I haven't actually seen any games that use this touchscreen. But it does have a button there on the stylus too. Not sure what that does either. Like I said, don't have anything that uses it. And then this gigantic enter action button, which is used for all kinds of different stuff. In my experience, most of the games just use the stick and this one button. So, very simple. Also interesting, you may have remembered this from my video about the Vtech V Flash, is that this controller is reorientable, just like the Vtech V Flash's controller is. So, it does not have to have the stick on the left. You rewind the cord here, or unwind the cord, so I can show you what I'm talking about. I'm not sure if I actually have to unwind the cord, but it will make the bottom easier to see, because I'm going to show you the bottom of it here in a second. Come on. Unwindy, windy, windy. I should have done this in advance. Anyway, okay. So, bottom of the controller. Again, apparently once owned by Brown. Fuck you. Let's put the stylus back where it's supposed to go, just to make this at least some semblance of tidy. Okay, so you've got this thing right here, which, if you push that switch to the right there, it releases this thing on top, allowing it to rotate. And I'm going to try and do this with one hand. This may not work quite up to plane. There it goes. So you can rotate that around the other way, and now the stick is on the right. How neat is that? Again, only the Vtech consoles have I seen this capability with, where it caters to left and right-handed people. So anyway, that's all the hardware stuff that I have to show. Now, what do I think of the system? Well, it's a pretty impressive system when you consider its educational hardware. As I've said many times about educational hardware, it tends to be shit. The software tends to be shit, and they don't put much effort into it because they're like, they're just kids anyway, they're not going to know if it's shit. Well, the Vtech consoles, they actually seem to put a lot of effort into it. It seems to me like if you can't get a job, if you're dedicated to making video games and making them good, but you can't get a job at a big name developer, you end up at a place like Vtech. Now what that means is the software that comes out of Vtech is actually pretty good. In fact, it's much more geared towards gaming than education. A lot of the games that you'll see on these consoles tend to have the educational bits in as just token gestures, where they may have you recognize a color or something. It's always something really basic, and then the actual game continues. The games themselves, again, not the best games ever made, but certainly easily playable and somewhat fun to play, kind of surprisingly. I made another video before this one where I played all of my 6 Vtech V.Smile games, and didn't have a bad time of it. So, yeah, this whole package, I think I got the V.Smile, the controller, and 3 of those games for like $13, and then the other games were $3 a piece. So, not a lot invested, and I got to show you something weird. I got to experience something I'd never experienced before, and try out something new. All for not a lot of money, which are all things I'm very much in favor of. So that's the end of this video. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll be doing more videos again soon. See ya.